Winston and David have to be in the cabinet. There's no way Winston will allow David to go sit on the crossbenches, because that means he's got to go to David every single time he wants a piece of policy. Likewise, there's no way David's going to let Winston sit on the crossbenches, because then he's got to go over to Winston and beg him for. So they've got to. They're all gloriously tied together. They stand together and they'll hang together. And I can't see this lasting longer than 12 months.
So if it can't last, let's say they get their shit together, but it can't last long. Let's say you're right, and in 12 months it all falls over. That means another election then, though, doesn't it? Because if it falls over, there's no plan B.
Because a vote of confidence could be held. They don't pass the vote of confidence. Bang, it's all over.
Oh, my goodness. Peter has sent in a little $2 super chat. Thank you. Peter says, don't think New Zealand needed a master negotiator. I thought you were going to say a master debater. Might have been more accurate for our hairless leader.
But I think it also really speaks to how weak Luxon's hand is. I mean, he's had a total silence and a cone of silence on all of this, because he doesn't really know how it's going. Winston is a master at this stuff. David's very clever in knowing what he wants, but they both have to have major wins. And unfortunately, it's just a buffet of dead rats. Yeah. They're going to have to swallow so many dead rats. And Winston's going to end up being the incremental handbrake on National and ACT that he was on the Labour government. And voters really want some change in terms of policy. And if they can't get it, it's just going to build and grind that feeling that democracy doesn't work.
Okay, this has turned into a bit of a open-eared conversation between me and you. What are the things from National and ACT that are non-negotiable in your opinion? Like,
they have to get their foreign buyers tax through. They have to. Too many property pimps have put too much money in their pockets not to get it.
But that's not going to happen.
They need it to happen, and Winston's not going to let them have it. Winston wants a slush fund, a provincial slush fund. David is completely against the provincial slush fund. National wants tax cuts. Winston said no to those. David wants tax cuts. Winston said no to those too. I mean, they're all...
David wants the referendum. Luxon said no to that.
That's right. Luxon said no. I think where you'll find them agreeing is in the privatisation of services. I think you're going to get a whole bunch of public-private partnerships coming through. You're already seeing donors who donated to National are having their pet projects pushed by National MPs now. I think that one way they will be able to get around not being able to lift the foreign buyers ban is cutbacks in public services, mass layoffs in the public sector. And I think you'll see, particularly with welfare, they're going to start bringing in some big data, and they're going to be becoming the investment model there. And that way that works is, some outside company will come in, they'll have 10 names on a list, and you either find that person a job and then you get a bonus, or you cut that person off the list because of some nonsense rule that you create, and then you get your bonus. So I think you'll see a lot of privatization and welfare. And I think they're also going to make I think ACT certainly want to have a look at ACC and Pharmac and privatization measures there as well.
We've been talking about after Brexit went through, literally the next day, there was headlines saying regret and remorse. How long is it going to take for the voters to go, oopsie, in your opinion?
Oh, I think that's happening now. This election this election was a grudge fuck against Labour. There was so much anger and resentment against Labour. A lot of it I feel unjustified, but in terms of their COVID response. But sure. but working people have gone backwards. 600,000 New Zealanders need food banks every single month. 24,717 are still waiting on the social housing wait list. We're spending $1 million a day kettling the families of beneficiaries into unsafe motels. Those people's lives didn't get better. We weren't transformative when we were in power. And one of the great losses that I think we should all feel sad about on the progressive side is that Labour had a once-in-a-generation MMP majority and they squandered it. And the lesson for us has got to be our policies must be about the material betterment of people who just want to get ahead in life and who are left behind.
But
And it's got to be 100 days, and you've got to bloody implement it.
But that's Labor's history. I mean, we say this
Yeah.
often on this show. You list the things that all New Zealanders have grabbed onto and refused to let go of, whether it's interest-free student loans, whether it's working for families, whether it's the state housing system,
all Labor
whether
policy.
So the left make policy and the right respond to left's policy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what happens. And
Yeah.
what Labor did in the last term was, yes, they had COVID, which cocked it all up for them.
Yes.
But because they did nothing else, when they chose to run away from COVID, they had literally nothing to stand on. They had nothing to point at because they did nothing other than responding to COVID, which on one hand I feel sorry for them about, but on the other hand, it's like, where was the cannabis reform? Where was all these things? Where's the capital gains tax? Where are these things that are actually popular and not necessarily to be fearful? I was just looking at a story from tonight. I don't think we'll play it because it's time for us to go. But this one here, maybe this is the one policy that all three of the coalition of cunts can get together with, and that's the banning of Māori road signs. That's a story that's come out tonight, that there's been mass complaints sent to Waka Kotahi, all written in the same way, all from Hobson's Pledge. Maybe that's going to be the one policy that these three twat-based political parties can get behind.
I think they are petty and shallow enough for that to be held up as their achievement. Look, the naked reality is the economy really is getting pounded now by a lot of these geopolitical shockwaves. You're seeing unemployment tick up. People's interest on their bloody mortgage is going to kill them as it all rolls off this year into those much higher figures. People are hurting out there, and none of what is being put forward right now economically is going to make anyone's life better. In fact, it will probably make things quite worse for some people. And I think the buyer's remorse is in there immediately. This was a grudge fuck against Labor. People have now got this tormented scream of National Act and New Zealand First, for God's sakes, whose policy are all crazy and who all hate each other. And I think the regret will be, by the time people sitting down for Christmas and going, what did we just do there? I still don't understand what happened. I think there's going to be a lot of regret.